Goldberg. And I have to tell you, it feels great to be back, even though I'm going to apologize for coming on late. We have been having technical difficulties. My guest, Robert Place, um, he was having technical difficulties. I was having technical difficulties. So we are going to reschedule Robert M. Place so that we can get a full interview from him, because with somebody with this much talent and ability and who has been doing what he's been doing for as long as he has, well, I just think it's fair to want to have a full show with him, because I know I do. All right, so where have I been for the last 6 weeks? Well, I haven't been around, and you've been watching replays, and I had a guest host, Beth Lynch, which I'm so grateful for. I haven't been here because I broke something. I broke my hip. I slipped in the shower, fell right on my hip. It went pop, and I have been learning to heal. I have been learning to walk. And it's only a little bit more than 6 weeks. I think it's about 6.5 weeks since it happened. And so this is my first show back, and I'm so sorry that it wasn't more of a exciting entrance because we're running late, but here I am. So I do want to start by thanking so many people. I need to thank the ambulance, the driver and the other paramedic that came to help me, the firemen of Stanley, North Carolina, who had to get me out of my shower. There were 5 of them to get me out because there was no way I could walk or do anything. I want to thank the hospital that I was at, which is Novant here in Huntersville, my surgeon, Dr. Richmond, the nurses, my PT therapist, my OT therapist, senior helpers. Not that I would claim to be a senior, but they come in and help you with your hygiene and dressing and your exercises and meals and things like that, which I really needed help with. I need to thank my friends who came in from out of town to stay with me for 3.5 weeks while my husband was traveling. And I need to thank my husband, because Gary Goldberg, I love you and so grateful for all that you did with me and for me with this accident, especially in light of the fact that 10 minutes before he was leaving for the airport is when I had my accident. So he had to turn his life around and upside down during this very, very, very harried period. So thank you to each and every one of you, to those who wrote, called, texted, said get well gifts. I'm like so grateful. Thank you for thinking of me. It made me feel so good. And so the conversation I want to have is about these unexpected situations that we have, whether it's an accident or a tragedy or a drama or whatever it's going on. What happened at a certain point in my period. So I just need to go back a little bit. So when the firemen got me on the gurney and we got me into the ambulance and I'm on my way to the hospital, at a certain point, I am, in my bed, in the room, waiting to find out if and when I'm having surgery, and I'm in one place for 10 hours. And as this is going on for me, I am talking to spirit. So, I walk my talk, because, I share with you often that I look at everything, both positive and perceived negative, as a lesson, opportunity, gift, or a combination thereof, right? So here I am in my situation going, okay, spirit, I called in Archangel Raphael, Ariel, Azrael, the angels of healing. I called in my other beings. I said I needed some insight as to why this happened. What's the gift, the lesson, the opportunity, the combination? What is it that I'm supposed to get from this accident that I had? And it was just very, very strange. And I'm still learning. But some of the things that I have received from Spirit about that question, what's the lesson, opportunity, gift, or combination from this accident? There's a couple of things, and they go in different sects of my life. So, first of all, and if you didn't remember this, and I don't expect you to, but May 4th, I was moving into my new home and ended up fracturing my elbow. Then, as soon as I was given the go ahead to get back to my normal life, I break my hip. So this summer has really not been a summer for me. It's been a summer of healing, but it's a summer of introspection. Instead of going boo-hoo, I didn't get to enjoy summertime. That's not it in life. It is about my introspection. Why did it happen to me? Well, when I broke my elbow, I realized that Spirit wanted me to slow down. When I broke my hip, it was like the next level, of Spirit telling me to slow down. So I had no option but to have to slow down. So if anybody who knows me knows, um, my plate stays quite full. I've got 3 books in the hopper. I have my podcast. I'm working on, or I was working on classes and workshops. I'm working on a retreat and doing some special events and speaking engagements. And it was quite the full plate. So this is Spirit's way of saying, okay, you're going to slow down whether you want to or not. So I have slowed down. So my focus right now is doing the podcast, still bringing you some amazing people, some amazing modalities, how people mix their modalities from their experiences and what they learn, when working on my book. And I know this sounds sort of incongruent, but to continue working on getting my yoga teacher training. I'm right at the point of getting certified. I have 2 more pieces to do, and then I will be completed with that and be certified as a yoga teacher. So let's talk about why things like this happen to us and what we get from it. So, as I mentioned, I keep looking at what's the lesson, opportunity, and gift. So, as I mentioned, yes, I have to slow down. And what I've been doing is pulling back and going inside whenever I had some quiet time, which was not a lot because I was always surrounded by people. But I really took this to be something that I need to shift. I need to make some shifts and changes in my life. Has that happened to you? Have you had things happen which really sort of put a kink in the chain? But then when you found out, when you worked the kink out, you found out the reason why. And it was like, oh, if this didn't happen, then this wouldn't have happened. It could be in the way of a job, whether it's getting a job, losing a job, promotion for a job, losing a job and finding a better job, or going in a different direction and being happier than you've ever been. I mean, those are some things that happen when Spirit forces you to reevaluate what's going on in your life and the choices. I talk about the power of choice and the choices that you make in your life, which bring you to things like this. My choice, well, I chose to take a shower, which I know many people are always happy when I choose that. But for me, it was making me pull back. It was really making me rest and recharge my battery. Um, it is, and so I guess what I'm trying to say is, what does it happen for you that where something good or positive came out of something that really looked disastrous? I was trying to do some promotions this morning, and I sort of messed up my microphone. And well, we pulled the promotions, but one of the things I was talking about is sending prayers to the people of Hawaii, of Maui, Lahaina, who are devastated and lost everything. The people who are now dealing with the tragedy of the hurricane Ideal. I can't remember the name of it, but that has just crossed the path and was a category 4 and have left people homeless or with damaged homes and water damage and just starting over. So let's talk about that. What could that mean? Yes, it's difficult. It feels like a violation when you lose your memories that are in souvenirs or pictures or scrapbooks or whatever they might be. But what is this an opportunity for? Well, it's a great opportunity to start over and to figure out your priorities. I know heirlooms mean a lot to me too. But if it's a choice between my heirloom and my life and my safety, I go for life and safety. That would be, where I would be at. And hopefully, I don't wish this on anybody. I don't want anybody to lose their belongings. But it does give you an opportunity to start over, to create new memories, to start a new journey, to bring new things into the fold. Also, what else happens, which is what happened with me with my fall and accident, right? You learn gratitude for the people that are sending funds and donations of clothing and household goods, things like that, um, that are helping you with your mental health, that are being there to support you, to put you to house you, to feed you, whatever it might need. Those are things I know for me were never easy because I've always been very resourceful, very independent. But the fact that I now had to rely on people to help me bathe, help me get dressed, to feed me, to help move me from one room to another. I mean, I had to learn to surrender. That was huge. So, and a lot of times we don't want our underbellies to show. We don't want to show our vulnerability. But sometimes we do. We need to surrender. We need to surrender so we can see what Spirit's going to bring to us. And I had to surrender and so for the past 6.5 weeks, I've surrendered. And I'm still surrendering because I am changing my path, my trajectory, what I'm doing, how I'm doing it. I'm allowing people to come in and help me. I am graciously and gratefully accepting um, the dinners that they brought, the meals that they brought, the help with my dog, the help with household chores. It was huge. And, there are many people who are really okay with, okay, I'll let you help. I just not happen to be one of the ones that, struggle with accepting. I'm a giver. I will give and give and give and give and give. And I love to give. And it makes me feel good to give. And I'm not trying to take that feeling away from anybody who wants to give back. But when you're brought up a certain way, well, you start really thinking about letting go of control, allowing for other people to come in and to help. And that was one of my huge lessons. So one lesson, which I mentioned, was me slowing down, pulling back. The next one is surrendering to allowing people to help me. I have gratitude each and every day, but my gratitude for what was going on around me just expanded so hugely because my sphere expanded so hugely. And you know what? I met some of the most incredible people while doing this. So Abby, who is one of my caretakers, 8 children. She comes from, oh my goodness gracious, I can't remember where she comes from, but love this woman and how she came in and was there and supported me and helped me and with a way that was respectful. It wasn't, I didn't feel uncomfortable. I didn't feel nervous about having a stranger. Well, first of all, see me naked other than my husband, right? Because how many of us like to stand in front of the mirror naked and look at ourselves? Well, many of us don't, right? Because what happens? We go, it's like that commercial, which I keep laughing about all the time, with somebody comes to a meeting and they've got a mustard stain on their shirt. Well, having somebody look, helping you in your most vulnerable is, can make you feel quite uncomfortable. But here's the thing: there was no judgment. And she came from Senior Helpers down here, and I met Eric and Crystal, and this couple who founded this company here in the area because it is a franchise. But the one area that they have here, what they've built, they've brought on some amazing people who help, and they do it and allow you to keep your dignity. And Abby allowed me to keep my dignity, and I'm so grateful. I'm grateful for Eric and Crystal for having this business that could help me. I mean, all of this is so powerful. Again, when you think about vulnerability, when you think about dignity, when you think about surrender. I mean, the list is starting to get longer. Do you notice? I mean, it makes a difference. And you know what else I feel is that it truly helped me to heal faster. Granted, I'm a healer. I have been doing things on my own. I have healer friends that have been doing work on me. I have been doing cold red laser. I have been going to a functional medicine doctor who is helping me. And with all of these things, at 6.5 weeks, I'm progressing so much faster than they thought I would because of the average healing time, and getting back into lifetime. Um, so when you have your disasters, when you have your challenges, do you surrender? Can you surrender? Can you handle what your situation with dignity, with curiosity as to why it's going on? And sometimes you just have to ask the question of why and let it go, and just let it go into the ethers, because hanging on and berating yourself or berating the situation will only keep you stuck. Surrendering, allowing yourself to rest when you need to rest, eat when you need to eat, will help you to heal faster. And I will tell you, I listened to the guidance of this one. It said eat plenty of protein. I made sure I had my protein sources because I wanted to make sure that I was going to heal and get back to life quickly. That's who I am. That's how I live my life. And I guess I'm wondering if you are able to do that as well. Here's a little irony. My brother, who lives in Florida, um, let's see, 9 weeks ago, he had a hip replacement. 7 weeks ago, or 7.5 weeks ago, 8 weeks ago, he had gotten his staples out and he was coming home. And he rested on a piece of furniture and the furniture flipped and he broke his femur. Back to the hospital, back to surgery. And now he is 7.5 weeks in to his healing. And the difference between he and I, well, he's going to be wheelchair bound for 8 weeks. He can only put toe weight on right now. He's hoping in 3 weeks he can put half weight on. But the question is what did he surrender? Is he allowing? In his own way, he is. He's forced to. When something happens that lays you out like that, you really become forced to change your perspective, look at things differently, and allow those areas of your life that you fought to just happen. Sometimes they say when you get pulled into a riptide, just relax, get on your back as fast as possible, don't panic, and allow yourself to be taken where it takes you until you have the ability to get out of it and move where you want to be. It's a form of surrender, and you do it with grace instead of fighting. You will be taken to a place where you can be safer rather than if you're fighting you're fighting the riptide and it just pulls you under more, almost like quicksand. So I guess the moral of this conversation is allowing, is surrender, and trusting. Trusting that your needs are going to be taken care of. The people around you want to see your needs taken care of. It's all gigantically huge in my world. I know this probably wasn't. I know it wasn't what was promoted, but as I mentioned, because our guest Robert Place, there was technical difficulties both on my side, on his side. This is the conversation that is organically coming up. So if you have any questions, please ask them of me. I'm happy to respond to the best of my ability. So can we talk about surrender? I'm going to pull out this book that I have, and I just want to look something up before we go into the conversation of. Just bear with me. I'm just looking something up because I want to read a definition. Okay. Surrender of the will. Destructive brainwashing cults. To relinquish complete control of one's mental activity, actions, and emotions to a higher authority, letting go of the total personality caused by a spontaneous, short-lived spiritual experience during the brainwashing program. Now, this is about a cult, and I really don't want to talk about a cult, but it's true about relinquishing complete control. That is what surrender of the will can be. What I'm looking for is not in this book. So what book am I looking at, right? I love this book. It's called the Encyclopedic Psychic Dictionary, and it is chock full of amazing, wonderful things, of definitions and guidance, and it just makes a huge difference in life. I'm going to see if this book has something else. I just want to see before I go into this. Okay, I am not finding what I would like of this. So it doesn't really have what I want to talk about regarding surrender. But you know what it is. It's letting go. It's allowing. It's allowing things to just happen to you, for you, which will turn out to be for your highest and best good. Because reality is that everything that happens to us, wherever we are in our life, whatever we're experiencing, positive or perceived negative, you're there for a reason. I had an amazing therapist, Betty Ross Rubin, who told me this back when I was in my 20s. And when I came to her and I was like, I should have, and what if, and all of those kind of statements to her. And she said, Marla, I'm going to stop you here and now. And I'm going to tell you that wherever you are in the moment is where you need to be able to heal, to be able to figure things out and get through it. And obviously, I'm going to say, I was not happy about it. I did not like that comment one bit when she said it. But many years later, a lot of growth, a lot of healing has happened. And with that, I now agree with Betty. We are where we are for a reason. We just have to figure out what's in that reason. What are we supposed to learn? Are we supposed to learn humility, growth, integrity? Are we supposed to learn how to open up our hearts, how to trust, how to surrender? And it goes on and on and on of where we might be and what we might be receiving from this. So know that if you're in a place that you're not happy being in, think about the place. Think about why. Um, Whenever something happens, the lesson is not just for us, the immediate individual who's dealing with things, but it is also for the people around us. So when I fell, the lesson wasn't just for me. The lesson was for my husband. The lesson was from the people he had to deal with for business. There was a lesson for the friends who came to me, for the people who supported me. It might not be dramatic, but there's something in every facet of what happens to us to learn, to be able to grow. And so that being said, I just want to bring this to you so that you understand that nothing's being done to you. Nothing is being done to hurt you. I mean, yes, we might be abused, but there's a reason for it. And maybe the reason is for you to build the strength to get out of your situation, to find the wherewithal to save yourself, to save your family from somebody who's being abusive, who's hitting you or talking to you in a way that they shouldn't, or who might be trying to extort something from you or blackmail you. The lesson is, how do you deal with this? How do you extricate yourself from this? I'm going to take a pause here because it's charity shout out time. And I'm going to use Robert Place's charity, which is Doctors Without Now, Doctors Without Borders are these amazing beings who are trained in the medical profession, who go to not just third world countries, but disaster areas. They bring their supplies and they are of service. They are helping with the injuries. They're helping with the illnesses. And they do this not because they're going to get rich and famous doing it. They're doing this to be of service. And it's such an honorable organization. And you can find Doctors Without Borders at doctorswithoutborders.org. And you can see how you can help them, whether it's donations or supplies. And that's any charitable extension. So if you want to donate to the people in Maui, you can find I know there's over 50. There might be over 500. I don't know, different kinds of charities where you can donate, whether it's product, service, or money, but that they could use. The same thing now in Florida. To the people who have lost loved ones in these shootings, what could they use? What do they need? There's so many ways you can be of service and of help. So yes, Doctors Without Borders is Robert Place's charity, but there are so many. The animals. Oh my goodness, how many animals are they going to find homeless in Maui or in Florida now? They need homes. They need foster homes for these animals. So like I said, you can be of service doing so many different things that might be more physical or more financial. But I just implore you to be of service in whatever way works for you. So thank you for letting me do the charity shout out. Okay. Well, I haven't gotten any questions about this topic, so I might make this a short podcast next week. My guest is Dee Wallace. I'm so excited. I have been wanting Dee to come on. A friend of mine, she did a speaking engagement for a friend of mine, and she was phenomenal. So if you know the name but you're sort of like scratching out, where do I know Dee Wallace? Well, she was the mother on E.T. She was an actress. She had a lot of other major roles um, back in the 80s and 90s. And I don't know what it is quite yet, but I'm going to find out next week where her life shifted, where she became a healer. She is also, she writes on so many topics. She's an intuitive. She's also a self-love person, just like myself. I will say self-love expert for her. I feel I'm a self-love expert because it's about helping people to learn, to heal, to love themselves. And that's where a lot of our problems are today, in my opinion, is that we really don't know how to love ourselves. And so, what do we do? Right? So, next week, Dee Wallace is going to be my guest, and we're going to talk about her very extensive background on her healing modalities, self love, how things work together, so that when you heal and you start loving yourself, you then start having that life that you're divinely meant to live. And we're all divinely meant to live that life. We are not, I don't care what people state, we're not here to suffer. We do suffer, but it's not the end goal. The end goal is to heal. The end goal is to work through these challenges and these obstacles that we've chosen before we came into our bodies, so that we can heal from them and then have the life that we're divinely meant to live. I'm an example of that. Dee's an example of that, because I can't talk to you about her challenges, but in my book, My Fucking Long Journey to Loving Myself, A Guide to a Shorter Path, well, it tells my story. And it tells my story of the dysfunction I grew up in. Because of the dysfunction I grew up in, I didn't know how to make well thought out decisions. The power of choice, right? I talk about the power of choice. I was not educated in that way. I was not given the ability to be a really great critical thinker back when I was younger, because nobody taught me how. And yes, part of it is innate, part of it is taught, and it's part of the journey to self love. So I invite you to tune in next Thursday as Dee Wallace as my guest, and we talk about healing, metaphysics, self love, her journey, how she got to where she was, to where she is, to being the person of service that she stands up to be. Also, as I leave you, as always, I send you love, blessings, and gratitude. Know how grateful I am that you're in my life in whatever capacity you're in it. For not only are you my student, you're my teacher. Not only am I a teacher of yours, I am your student. And I love you. You are loved. My heart just overflows with the love that I have for each and every one of you. And yes, I can love like that to each and every one of you. Just like your spiritual beings, just like your family and friends, we all love you. We all want to see you do well. And if you're having a challenge, if you have a need, want, desire, ask your beings on the other side of the veil and let them start conspiring on your behalf. Let them bring you the messages or the opportunities or the experiences that will make your life the best possible life for you. I'm just going to remind you of two things. Remember, it's not linear. So the messages may come in a very esoteric way. Be open to it. Don't shut your mind off and don't poo-poo it, because you might be surprised by the outcome. And two, if what you're asking for does not come immediately, you need to look at where you are in your situation, in your life, so that you can say, oh, I haven't learned this lesson. Or, oh, I might need to change this. Or, oh, I need to be more grateful. But when you have learned whatever it is that is holding you back, you will then be able to expand and move it forward in your life in a beautiful, loving, and fulfilling way. Also, I'm trying to think if there's anything else I need to give you in my goodbye announcements. Again, prayers help to Maui, the people of Lahaina. I hope I'm saying that right. To Florida or the East Coast that have all been affected by the hurricane. To the families that have been affected by the violence that is so unnecessary. So, as I bid you the most glorious of weeks to come, and if you're in the United States, a very safe and happy Labor Day weekend, be very careful. But have fun. I mean, you can do too. I know it might be like, oh, if I'm careful, if I don't take those risks, it's no fun. I'm going to share with you. Yes, it is. I do have one more announcement. To the family and friends of Paul Wehner, a man who was friends with my sister, who I went to school with as well, who I had become friends with later on in life. He just transitioned because of cancer. So to the Wehner family, to the friends, sending you love and blessings. I know that he has touched so many lives, and for all those lives he's touched, his blessing, his memory will be a blessing. So to you, Wayners, I send my love, my healing, my light. Okay. I look forward to seeing you next Thursday. And until then, take care. Have a great day. Bye.